There are people in the world who actually need you to stay confused. Not because they hate you, but because your clarity would cost them something. And once you see this, you start noticing it everywhere. I got accused twice in one day of trying to steal someone's content, which is interesting because I spend most of my time creating my own. But it made me stop and look deeper, because that reaction doesn't come from nowhere. Some people, they don't protect truth. They protect access to it. And if access is what they're protecting, then your clarity becomes a problem. There are two kinds of people you'll run into when you start seeing clearly. People who want you to understand, and people who need you to depend. And the difference between these two isn't always obvious at first. Because sometimes the people who say they're helping you are actually the ones keeping you in a loop. And once you recognize that, you start asking a different question. Not, is this true? But why do I still feel like I don't fully understand it? If you keep asking that question, why do I still feel like I don't fully understand this? You'll start to notice a pattern. Sometimes confusion isn't a mistake. It's the model. Think about it. If someone truly helps you see clearly, if they simplify things to the point where you get it, what happens next? You don't need them anymore. And there's nothing wrong with providing value. There's nothing wrong with getting paid. But there's a difference between being paid for clarity and being paid to maintain dependency. Some systems are designed to give you just enough progress, just enough hope that you keep coming back. Not resolution, continuation. It can look like endless next level conversations, information that always feels one step out of reach, paywalls that promise clarity but never quite deliver it fully. I've seen that model. I've been part of that way of thinking before, and I understand why it happens. Because when your value is tied to being the source, you can't afford for people to outgrow you. Clarity frees people. Confusion keeps them close. The model I learned, and the one I use now, is different. I want to give people the clearest understanding that I can. Right up front. Let them see. Let them think. Let them decide. Because when someone understands something deeply, they don't feel dependent. They feel aligned. And here's where it gets interesting. When you start operating like that, it doesn't just free people. It disrupts the systems that rely on them staying confused. And that's usually the moment when the accusations start. Not because you're clear, but right after you became clear. Because now something has changed. You're not repeating ideas, you're seeing them. You're simplifying things, you're naming patterns, you're saying things in a way that lands. And when that happens, people who built their identity around being the source, they start to feel something. It's not always anger. It's not always jealousy. But it's something closer to being replaced. So instead of asking, is what he's saying true? The question shifts to, is he taking this from someone like me? Because if truth is shared, ownership starts to disappear. And if your sense of value is tied to being the one who knows, then shared truth feels like a loss. So when I get accused of stealing ideas, I don't really hear he took something from me. I hear, I don't know how you're able to say that without needing me. And that's not an attack on them. It's just a pattern. A lot of people would assume others operate the way they would. So if they've built by borrowing, remixing, or protecting, they would expect the same from you. But when you're generating from within, when you're actually thinking things through, and when you're building something at scale, other people's ideas stop looking like resources. They start looking like parallel discoveries. And that's the part that's hard for some people to accept. Because it means you don't need permission to see clearly. So the accusations, the defensiveness, the need to protect territory, it's usually not about theft. It's about disrupted control. And once you see that, you stop taking it personally and you start asking a different question. Because now you're not looking at people, you're looking at patterns. And this isn't really about who's right or wrong. It's about something deeper. Control versus clarity. Control says, stay with me. You need access. Don't move too far ahead. But clarity says, see for yourself. Understand it fully. Outgrow the need for me. The way I see it, if something is true, it should be able to stand on its own. It shouldn't need to be protected. It shouldn't need to be hidden. And it definitely shouldn't depend on who says it. It should depend on whether it's clear. That's why I give away as much clarity as I can. Not because I have to, but because I want people to actually see. And if someone wants to go deeper, they will. Not out of dependency, but out of alignment. To me, the highest form of respect isn't credit. It's replication. If you can take something I've said, understand it, and explain it clearly to someone else, that means it's real. So when someone needs you to stay confused, it's worth asking why. And when someone helps you see clearly, pay attention to that too.